Hello, everybody, and welcome to another great interview. We are on the road to the NAB New York show at the end of October, and I'm so excited to be talking to Christina Lee Storm. Christina Lee Storm is the CEO and founder of ASHER XR, and she's also a longtime network and studio executive, most recently running virtual production at Netflix. Christina, tell us about your background.
Yeah, I'm really just feeling super blessed about being working in the cross section of storytelling and technology for a while here now. It's exciting because there's, as we know today, technology is really at the forefront. It's enabling a lot of things for storytellers, and also there's hot topics right now about technology taking over, but I get excited because it is a way to sort of leverage out like tools and an ability where things might have taken a really long time. Now we have an ability to optimize workflows and whatnot. But really what I get super excited about, because it is the fundamentals of creating story, is the collaborative process and the collaborative workflow that allows creatives to sort of be in a place, be in a sandbox to work together. We're in such an instantaneous type of mode. A lot of folks want to see things and don't want to wait. And so we've been in that place, for a while as well. So it is an opportunity. And so the things that keep me up at night that I get excited about are the facts that, hey, we have technology that can really enable new kinds of storytelling. And some things can be applied to like our traditional sense of like linear series and film, but these new tool sets, spatial computing, and all of these different things are allowing a new way to emerge. And as we sort of see our audiences grow and how they intersect with various kinds of storytelling, it also enables that. And a lot of it is based around interactivity. It's based around immersiveness, and so it's sort of taking that next step of storytelling.
I love that. And what do you think why is it so important for people to come and learn about all of these things? Why is it so important to get face time with other creators and technologists?
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about NAB, the NAB Show New York, is that it is a place where folks like-mindedness or even curious minds can come together, sit in a room, sort of talk through, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, or this is what I've experienced, or I haven't experienced anything at all, and really talk through other professionals. It's an exchange. It's a place to do an exchange of ideas, brain trust. And really that's the power of now coming out of the pandemic. We really have a chance to sort of come together in a dynamic way, hear different thoughts and ideas. It shouldn't be an echo chamber at all, but it should be a place of like, here's where the latest, use cases can be sort of shared out. So that's really important. And for anyone who's creative, anyone who's a developer, anyone who is like in that space and trying to sort of iterate on new workflows and new processes, it's a chance for a couple days to really sort of fine tune that and have the opportunity to exchange ideas.
I mean, you have some really interesting colleagues joining you for the Leveraging New Tech for Storytelling. Can you tell us about them and their background and why they're there?
Yeah, this one's really exciting. This is sort of like speed dating, lots of information outputted very quickly. So there's three of us, myself, Eric, Alba, and Adam, and basically we are coming together to sort of hit on three different areas. The first being the creative use cases of actually, here's some use cases that we've seen or we've dealt with ourselves that are leveraging emerging tech, real-time technology, maybe even virtual production. So there's that piece, like here's like use cases, applied use cases. And then there's an aspect of technology leveraged. What are those tools? What are those actual workflows? maybe even like troubleshooting some areas of difficulty. And then there's a key component, obviously, in the concept of emerging tech and collaboration. And so it's the idea of the collaborative workflow for people to really come together. So, and touching on that, either there's adoption issues with collaboration, or there's just like, again, troubleshooting. Hey, here's some best practices when you're leveraging emerging tech, and how to sort of work through that with new teams and such. So it's a really dynamic. I'm super excited to share that roundtable with Eric and Adam.
And do you think, look, it's been a tumultuous couple of months for the media and entertainment industry as the industry settles, and lots of different layoffs and lots of readjusting. But to me, it seems like there's more opportunity than ever.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what you see coming down the pike in this umbrella you talk about? Like what is exciting you the most?
Yeah, I mean, coming into the summer, as you were saying, it was a very disruptive time, just with the strike, with the WGA strike at the time, and SAG happening. But I really felt energized. I felt like, wow, there's really an opportunity here. And the forefront, again, as I was saying, the technology was on the forefront of discussions. But I think we're at a place, and we just need to come to the table and have this discussion. And what I've been really talking about is this idea of this entertainment umbrella. So what is the entertainment umbrella? It's basically being a little bit more holistic of how we view entertainment. So some people, this is just like standard, of course. And other folks, it's like sort of a little eye-opening. And some of it comes out of a real focus on the future audience. The future audience that's going to have the funds to pay and do whatnot. And so me being a Gen Xer, I grew up with like film, going to the movies, loved, I was a TV kid. When I started in the industry, it was only film really that mattered. Television was this bastard stepchild. No one cared about international. Obviously, that's all changed. And what had transpired in that is that folks really felt like everything was rooted and came and birthed out of what I would call linear or traditional mediums of film and television. I mean, we say television, but we're really talking about series. And so what we're now really seeing, and this is really based around surveys and stats and numbers, is that the Gen Z audience, so that's folks, it's like my kids, born 1997 to 2009. Technically, my youngest doesn't even make the Gen Z. He's like right on the cutoff, but their viewpoint of entertainment is totally different. It's much more holistic. It's much more fluid. It's going between apps, spaces, and things. We talked about second screen like 10 years ago, and it's like second screen is like that's always happening, or multitasking of like content. And so if we're thinking about what's going to be the future, it's really looking at our audience and seeing like what is it that they are responding to, how are they looking at it. And really a lot of it is all inclusive of different things. It's not just traditional film and television. Their preferences are different, how they view content, what kind of content. And so what I've been talking a lot about is this, across the board, if you can come into the conversation holistically, that all of these things matter, not one or the other, not a us and them approach, but a holistic approach of gaming and esports, user-generated content, music, podcasts, social media, and TV shows and movies. And so it's really looking at that at a way of like, what does that mean? Some of it is disruptive in the sense that, well, we traditionally always started with movie and film. It's like, you could do that, or you can look at all the other impacts and influences that games or user-generated contents, drumming up, or even like on the social side, the TikTok side is like huge. So I think we kind of need to like really be thoughtful about what does it mean what does entertainment really mean? I also live entertainment is huge. There's a huge thing that's happening between live and digital, like in real life and also what's happening digitally. And so this is all sort of pointing to also Gen Z really wanting to be much more participatory as well as interactive and immersive. And so all of the signs are pointing that way. You look at sort of the trends, the numbers of how much money, for example, gaming has, per year is, like this year alone, 2023 is projected like 187 billion. So,
oh my God, yeah.
The numbers don't lie. I think it's for us to just, soberly like look at things. And really, to me, I get excited. Like why I got in the entertainment business is because I care about the audience. I really was excited about the audience's experience, to storytelling. And each of these things need to have a respect of like, what is that story? What does that impact to the audience? And how do you move forward?
That's great. I love that. And because that's where it all began. And it seems like now more than ever before, the audience is really a part of how content is getting created and why it's getting created. So Christina, you have also worn the hat of being a virtual production guru. You ran Netflix's initiative in that space, and also you were looking at all of this for Dreamscape, and you've also produced movies as well. So you are participating on a session at NAB New York called Virtual Production Revolution, a real-time love affair. And what we're hoping to talk about there is that a virtual production is not just about LED walls, it's about many things. So I'm wondering, what are your thoughts about what we really mean by virtual production and what we're going to be talking about at the NAB Show New York?
Yeah, it's funny because, in my vernacular, I don't say virtual production so much anymore, as much as real-time production, real-time workflows. For a while now, we've been trying to dig ourselves out of this, like virtual production is not just like a volume or a stage. And there's still a little bit of a lag on education on that. But to me, this is a very important panel at the NAB New York show. It's great because we're highlighting, yes, there are folks that are doing amazing, cool things with a volume on a stage, fairly large, infrastructure. There's also some tremendously exciting things happening on the front end of like with pre-production, digitalization. So when I think about virtual production, I think of much more holistically. It's like 6 different attributes that all come together to help really help a creative, help the filmmaker in their process. So obviously, if you can see sort of what you're going to build, say it like lightly as previs. There's so much going on with real-time previs and things like that, and how that's going to sort of evolve and change and shift into, just using the same type of assets to then it could end up being final pixel. We know that those things have already occurred for some animation and great animation use cases. So to me, this panel is great because we have been talking about virtual production for a while, but it's also just reminding people there's a lot of different ways to look at it, a lot of different things to think about with it. There's still lots of challenges. Again, it's emerging tech. And really, I think at this point, we can have some best practices, like here's how you go into it. Here's what your, the gotchas are there. And if I can share any, kind of insight to that, like, think about this versus this. Don't assume this, and that. The genie's out of the bottle. Virtual production is here. It's never going to leave. And it's part of a mindset of collaborative real-time workflow. So it's just, it's one of the many steps into this, the next 5 years that we're seeing how productions are going to be done. So much is really based around computer graphics and whatnot. And so this is just another really great panel to bring in some experts that are working in the space and just to really share our experience. Super excited to be at the NAB New York show. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to talking with fellow colleagues and meeting new ones, and really having a space to share and exchange ideas. So hope to see you all there.